travelers and luxury destination adventurers. It's now time to enjoy the journey on Enjoy the Journey with David Hartman and guests. And now, here's David Hartman.
There's a party on the sandbar in the key.
Greetings from paradise. David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, welcomes you to the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show here on Monday, April 27th. Remember, I'm the travel agent that always asks two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? We have a wonderful guest today, Peg Laron, Proprietress of Bay Harbor Lodge and Coconut Bay Resort. Peg's a great friend, a colleague. So I want to thank you to our sponsors, Vic Figueroa, Chip Bell Author, Michael Marinelli, Jim LaPointe, Destination Florida, Florida Keys and Key West, Monroe County Bail Bonds, and Health Genie Dale Clemens, our new sponsor. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk to Peg about her resorts here in the Florida Keys. Health Genie System Checker answers three important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Welcome back to the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show here from beautiful Key Largo, Florida. Our guest today is Peg Laron. Peg owns two beautiful resorts on the Bayside, mile marker 97.7 here in the Florida Keys. We're going to talk to Peg about her wonderful resorts and how did she end up in the Florida Keys. So Peg, how long have you been in Key Largo and how did you get here?
I came in 1983 with my then husband and my two children on an adventure to manage a hotel here in Key Largo. That was my husband's position. And at first, we didn't want to come, but we brought a picnic lunch, and we decided we couldn't find a place to have the picnic lunch, and went back to West Palm Beach. And then someone said, well, you never really checked it out. And then we came back and said, well, we don't go to the opera every night. Why don't we just come live here and raise our kids? And I've been here ever since. Well, when we moved here in 1983, it was told that the kids would play football in the street in the middle of US 1 in September. I don't think that would happen today.
Well, actually, right now you probably could on certain days. And like, the other day, I pulled out on a Friday night last week, and I took a picture. There was a car in neither direction coming down. But as that's all temporary. So,
absolutely.
How did you come about owning the two beautiful resorts you currently have in Key Largo?
In 1994, one of my parents, I was a kindergarten teacher, approached me in Publix and said that they were selling their resorts. I went home and told my husband, and we decided to purchase Coconut Bay as a business proposition and possibly a future home. We ended up renovating it, and that was the start of our own hotel business. Shortly afterwards, we purchased Bay Harbor, and the story is ongoing.
That's excellent. So the two resorts are actually adjacent. They're side by side, and they pretty much share the same beach, although there's different driveways. Are there any major differences in the two resorts?
Not everything. Everything is pretty much the same. We've integrated them together, so everything has the familiar look. The rooms all have the same furnishings. They share and they share facilities, so they're one and the same.
Once in a while, I stop by and drop a gift off for you. And one thing I've noticed is your staff is really, really nice, and they're really helpful. Like the one time I dropped you off your Christmas gift, they like went out of their way to make sure like where to go, what I was doing. I'm like, these people are really nice here.
Well, that's part of our training procedures. Although we may be small and we are well appointed, we are not a super luxury hotel. So what we can do is be kind and accommodating for our guests. And so all of the staff has been trained to do so. They must be friendly and kind and make all attempts to give the guests a wonderful stay at the resort.
Perfect. I want to let the followers know, our international audience, that the pictures showing right now during the broadcast are from Peg's Resorts here on Florida Bay in Key Largo, mile marker 97.7. Actually, the full address is 97702 Overseas Highway, Key Largo, Florida. And Peg, if someone was thinking about the Keys, what would the questions they ask to see if your resorts are a fit for them?
Well, I think right now, considering our lifestyle, our new to be lifestyle, our resort offers a private entrance for each of the accommodations. So all of the guests would enter through their own doorway from the outside to the inside. And I think in today's, considering today's situation, that is a good thing. Also, I think that most of the accommodations have their own private patio, and so that offers separation from the people, and they can enjoy the outside without having to be on top of others.
Excellent points. So your resorts are social distant compliant.
Definitely.
And very social media friendly. For if you want a picture of a fantastic sunset, you only have to walk 15 seconds to get to it. 5 to 15 seconds. Peg's Resort is for you. So, I also love about your resorts, and obviously I know you as a businesswoman and a colleague. I did a little bit of research because obviously I've been to your resorts, but have not stayed there because I have a wonderful house here. This is my house today. I'm from. I like the fact no resort fees and complimentary amenities. So if someone stays at a resort, what is included with their price?
What is included is we have complimentary kayaks, paddle boards for our guests. We also have complimentary scones that are served every morning.
Love the scones.
Make them in our little food trailer. There's a picture of me serving the scones to the guests in the morning. We also have a seasonally heated or chilled saltwater swimming pool, and that is perfect for our guests. And of course, in the rooms, there are lovely, shampoos and body lotions that are complimentary for the guests' use, as well as we offer a makeup washcloth so that people can remove their women can remove their makeup without soiling the linens.
Very nice. You guys have thought of everything at your resorts. And one thing I want to point out for our audience who's not been to the Keys, Peg's Resorts are on the calm waters of Florida Bay. So the free kayaks and stand-up paddle boards and water activities, it's going to be calm there 99% of the time because all of our winds come from the other side, and it's just known to be calm water. So it's a fantastic asset to have. She did a great job. Can people have a wedding at your resort?
They can have a small intimate weddings work much better on our property.
Okay.
As we don't have the staff or the facilities to do large ones comfortably.
Okay. So how many, say if there's a resort buyout, how many people could stay at your resort using both sides?
The entire resort for sleeping purposes can house up to 71 people.
Okay. That's still a good size group. Have you had any resorts buyouts in the past?
We have had several, yes, including my own children.
I see you have wonderful kids.
I think so.
So how do people find out more about your resorts?
We have a website. It's www.bayharborkeylargo.com. Through that website, you will find a map of the property, individual pictures of the rooms, as well as the outside areas. And you can also book online. If the guests book directly through us online, they can receive $10 off per night.
Excellent. A 10% discount for online booking.
No, excuse me, David, $10 off a night.
$10 off a night. Still yes. Very, very nice. And when is the best time for rates? If people say, hey, I'm flexible on travel dates, when are your best rates in the Keys?
The best dates in the Keys are generally September, October, and the first 2 weeks in December. Those are the most affordable times.
Perfect.
However, January, February, and March and April are just absolutely glorious as there's more increasing sunlight instead of decreasing sunlight.
Excellent points. Excellent points. And as far as, say, on family travel, it sounds like you're family friendly there. Is there any age minimum or is there any ages allowed?
No, we are definitely family friendly. I was a former teacher, and there would be no way that I would exclude children.
And I have a question for you because I actually referred a travel agent to you, a colleague. She had this question. What's the minimum age you have to be to book a room at your resort?
That is a very good question. We struggle with that, but basically, I would say 21.
21, which is the standard in the industry. Which you have to be an adult, but you have to be an adult who can also buy alcohol. Now, as far as activities at the resort, what is nearby? When people stay at your resort, what else can they do? Say they love the resort, but they also want to get out and see the area. So what is close by to you?
Absolutely. We send people snorkeling and also diving and fishing. To the south of us, there is the bird center. We often send people to the bird center and to visit some of the dolphin research center in, well, that is not close by, but in Marathon, and also Dolphins Plus in Key Largo. So we encourage people to get out and about and experience the great outdoors. I often will send them as well to John Pennekamp State Park to explore the mangroves in a kayak, because that's a really, truly mangrove experience there.
Which I highly recommend, because I was kayaking the mangroves at John Pennekamp Park yesterday, because I'm fortunate enough to have a dock that eventually my canal system goes into Pennekamp Park. And it is a very unique experience. So at mile marker 97.7, you're fairly close to the heart of Key Largo. And you also, as you mentioned, have numerous activities nearby. When people come stay with you, say they are excited about the show, how long should they plan their trip for?
I believe they need to stay at least 3 to 5 days to get a really good feel for Key Largo. You can spend one night and you're in and you're out, but you really don't get to relax and to enjoy all that Key Largo has to offer. You need some just chill time on our beach. You need a time to explore all of our wonderful restaurants with such varied cuisine. So I would say at least 3 to 5 days.
Which is a good time for the Keys. Just a weekend's not enough down here. I tell people come down for the weekend. It's like you can only scratch the surface coming down for a couple days. So excellent point. If a group stays at your property, can they have their own private party? Can they bring in food or bring in a caterer?
They can, yes. If it's going to be a large group, we may end up charging a small site fee. But yes, they will join together and they can have their little barbecues and things of that nature.
But you can survive on Peg's scones alone, by the way. It's been scientifically proven. So my story about Peg is I know you when I first joined the Chamber of Commerce, when my friend Matt Tybus was chair, and you were already on the board. And you said, I want to do a river cruise one day. I want to do some travel. And I'm going to start transitioning soon to our second half of the show. But then I became on the board, and these scones kept popping up. I didn't know you were the one making them for the longest time. Then I hear about our friend Dawn DeBrule coming over to help you make scones in the morning. Like, because they look so professional. You had stickers on them and they were in bags. And I remember, thankfully the time I was on the Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, the legendary Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, my time on the board, there wasn't a lot of sweet tooths there. So I would go home with 3 or 4 of them. So every morning, Peg is up early in the food trailer making scones at her resort, and that is part of their stay, correct?
Yes, it is. We make more than 50 different varieties, and it all evolved from a guest being very annoyed that we didn't serve coffee. So that's how they evolved.
Really? Interesting.
Yes. Yes. And so that was in 2010. The gentleman was a business traveler and he wanted his coffee the first thing in the morning. And we apologized, of course. And I decided that once I retired from teaching, I would serve coffee and something else. And after some time, I figured out that I should make scones. One of my former guests suggested that I make rock buns that were made with lard. And I decided that lard wasn't an option for me. So after some research, I discovered scones and I started making them and they have evolved.
Very important question. So what flavors do the scones come in?
They come in blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, pumpkin, cherry vanilla, toffee coffee. Oh, I could go on and on.
Yeah, I believe from the free samples from the Chamber of Commerce Boards of Directors meeting, I believe the raspberry was my favorite.
Okay.
Question, so what time are you up to and what time are you making these every morning?
We start baking them between 5 and 5:30.
Wow.
Yes. And of course, the number that we bake depends upon the number of guests that we have. We've made as many as 120 a day for when we have a large crowd. It seems that the children are extremely ravenous.
Excellent. So about how many scones do you bake?
At least 35 to 40 every day, but probably as much as 120.
100. Wow, that's a lot of scones. So if a kid is extra into scones, he can get more than just one.
He can have as many as his heart desires. One of the favorites, it's on the screen now, is guava cream cheese. And that is in tribute to our Cuban heritage here in the Florida Keys. And they are a hit.
Very nice. And I definitely appreciate you have different flavors of scones. So.
And we even make gluten-free ones, David, for those individuals who are gluten intolerant.
I see that your resorts are up on important trends in health. And gluten-free.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I actually had a cruise group in 2013 as a convention cruise of 100 people. They were all into these health clinics. And I had over 30 gluten-free requests before there was even a thing. So the cruise line was just like, whoa. Like they were aware of it, but they're like, this is a pretty up to speed group on health. But now it is everywhere, and it's very important that Peg does have gluten-free scones. I actually do have a few questions from the audience. My good friend Tony Baxter, who was on last week too, is on this week, and he had some questions for you. First question from Tony, who lives in Connecticut and went to high school with him, is can you park at your room?
Absolutely. There is parking right outside of most of the rooms. There are a few rooms that are not. We have one large 2-story building. There, the parking is adjacent, but not right in front of the room.
Excellent. And his follow-up question, well, how many cars can they have?
One car in their particular parking spot, but we do have additional parking at the front of the resort.
Oh, that's right. That big lot when you pull in.
Correct.
Very important. So if they had 3 cars for one family, they just put 2 out the big lot and 1 in front.
Exactly.
That's very fair arrangement and very convenient. I mean, we have a lot of, and these are true Keysy resorts. People have to understand as they see the pictures, like they really epitomize the Florida Keys. But there's very few down here where you can actually drive up and get out and be at your room, and each room is an individual unit. So there are plenty of Keysy hotels that don't have that arrangement. So it's very convenient, which is nice.
And although my place is truly a Florida Keys place, it has been updated and the rooms are attractive and certainly not run down. I've made it a place where I would want to stay, and I'm very picky.
Yes, you are indeed. Very important, the listeners out there, even ones who have been here, Keezy does not equate to run down. Keezy is tropical, bright colors, laid back. Unfortunately, over time, there are some resorts here, including ones we had in the show recently, but they're going through a refurb. And Pegs makes it very clear her resorts are up to date and very modern, and I can attest to that. I've been in her rooms, I've seen the resort, and it's very clean. It is a clean resort and very tropical. And the pictures we're currently showing, Peg, don't really do it justice. I imagine with the grounds you must have a pretty aggressive landscaper.
Yes, I do. I have a gardener who works for me, and I also use Juan Velizaroff Lawn Service, who works to maintain the trees and the grass and the plants, and he helps me design the individual gardens. It is truly a tropical paradise. The hotel was featured by the Garden Club in 2018 for the garden walk. And so I was very honored to have that opportunity to show my gardens.
Really? Congratulations. I've actually been to the garden club. I've not made their garden walks. I miss their dates. I have a conflict, but I know they only pick certain properties for that. So that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And then Tony had obviously other questions here. Some we already covered. We covered rates. We covered best time of year to go. Tony says, if there were more than a few days, would you take a request for scones? In other words, if he's visiting me, can he request scones?
Absolutely. Stop on by and I would be pleased to serve him scones. They don't ship well, though. I've tried mailing them in a wine, box that wine importers use, and putting paper in between. But they arrived in crumbs, so I can't ship them.
Understood, and also very fair. Tony was just here in November, and we actually went fishing with a charter boat captain who's on my show next week. So we're showing pictures of us fishing. So Tony loves the Keys, and when he comes back, we'll definitely bring him over for some scones and have him check out your resort.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Another follow-up question from we have a chat on YouTube, by the way. So if you do want to find us right now, you're listening some other way, mostly you're on YouTube on the A1A Radio Network. Just go to the chat feature on YouTube. Do you ever have musicians play at your resort?
I have for different weddings and events. I have used musicians, but I don't have like a jam night or anything. I've never had a jam night. But I have had painters come from the Purple Isles Painting Guild. They have come on the property and painted different scenes at the resort.
Like a painting class?
Yes. Well, no, they actually just sit there and paint. They
painted.
The Florida Keys environment and paint.
Fantastic. Now, I thought of another question, but people can come here and have classes right on your property. You can bring in instructors and things, let's say like a painting class or.
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a good idea for a group who's ever out there who's in a arts and crafts class or a painting class. I've done that for cruise groups, but I have to create one for your hotel for the Keys, because painting in the Keys Sunset is a fantastic assignment for class.
Someone also wanted to do a yoga retreat at the hotel. It didn't end up working out, but they were exploring the idea of having a yoga retreat. Again, that would be a great spot, since we have the big grassy area and also have the sandy area. That would make perfect environment for that.
That is perfect for your resort. That's yoga.
Yes.
You do morning kind of like break, and then you could do a like evening sunset class. That would be fun. Excellent. Well, we're due to take a break. And when we get back from our break, Harry Tieford's going to roll our sponsors. And when we get back, we're going to talk to Peg about her bucket list trip to Provence, France last July for a very special birthday. I think it was your 50th birthday, right, Peg?
Absolutely.
So stay tuned.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Don Littlebrook, and I want to invite you to our little party. We're going to take about an hour and just get away. This is sponsored by the Southwest Florida Parenthood Club.
David,
and a location
you have
called
some real
Dolphin Key Resort
overexposure
right
on your
in
camera.
Florida. So
You
we're
hear
going to have
me?
a good time. It's a pay-per-view. Some of you are used to spending like $100 to watch a couple guys knock the snot out of each other. It's not like that. This is peaceful. Might be a scuffle at the bar. I doubt it. It's paired heads.
Do me a
They do
favor.
good things,
Go
charitable
out
work. They change the
of
world
the
one drink at a
rendezvous and
time.
come back.
And right now, what I want you to
least.
do is grab a drink and join me. This is sponsored by Radio A1A, Gary Tieford, and I want to thank Jodie Foster and Shelley Perry for making this possible. Let's have some fun.
Peg, good job. Excellent job, as a matter of fact. If we can get some video of your property, we can run some spots like we're doing here. Promote her. She's wonderful. I've always tried my best to get my hair to do what hers does. I just can't get it.
Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey.
There you are. Oh, much better, David. It was Rendezvous. Had overexposed you for some reason somehow.
Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary.
Welcome back to the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show. Host David Hartman here with special guest Peg Laron. We're going to change gears a little bit. Peg will gladly answer any questions you have about her wonderful resorts on the calm waters of Florida Bay here in Key Largo, Florida. Next, we're going to talk about what I specialize in is bucket list travel. Peg approached me about 18 months ago or so, maybe more than that, and says, listen, I have a big birthday coming up and I want to rent a villa in the south of France. Peg had been to France before, which she can talk all about in a minute. And she said, I love the area. I want to have a villa for the month in Provence and have my family visit in shifts, not for the whole month at once. And I set up this wonderful trip, but also all the travel around it. And Peg is a perfect example of what I do for clients as far as something that you want that is entirely yours the way you want it. Is that right, Peg?
That is exactly true, David. It was a trip of a lifetime, and I can't thank you enough. It was fabulous, more than fabulous.
You're welcome. So tell us about, first off, let's go back. So you've been to France before. When was that? And then when did you come up with the idea to go there for a month?
When I was a young woman, I did my junior year abroad in Montpellier, France. And then later on, several years later, I did my master's through the Middlebury College in Vermont in Paris. So in all, I spent 2 years in France when I was an adventurous young woman. And so since then, my family and I have done a lot of travel, not necessarily in France, but I felt as I would like to use my French and explore the south of France. So that's how I came up with the idea. And I wanted something authentic. I didn't want to go on a tour. I wanted to have the travel centered around my whims. And I didn't want it to be that every moment was planned. So, and it indeed wasn't. It just, if something came upon me, I said, oh, let's go do this. And that's exactly what we did.
And of course, you approached me with really just an idea. I don't think even, we didn't know the town. We had to search villas together. And one thing I will say is that when you plan a bucket list trip, Peg's a good example why you don't want to do it yourself. I have a vendor named Villas of Distinctions, and they have a distinct specialty in Europe and especially France. And the people I work with had been there before. They had seen all these villas. They only carry ones that meet a certain standard and keep it or even exceed that every year. And with this idea, we were off and running, and it was a team effort. I gave Peg ideas, and she'd come back, and then we had a couple in mind, and we narrowed it down to a villa called Bigot.
Absolutely. Yes. Bigot was a 3-bedroom villa with a pool and luxury gardens. The pool was not heated, and at the beginning of our trip, it was quite cold. However, the temperatures reached 116 while we were there, and the pool actually became quite refreshing.
Very nice. Yes.
It was totally, the home was totally outfitted with lovely, comfortable furniture with different decorations from all over the world. There was even a picture of brushes from China. So it just was very comfortable, even by American standards.
And it is. And the pictures we're now showing in the broadcast are your pictures, not professional, but your pictures from off your, actually, I took them off your Facebook page. And then right now you're going to see a picture of Bigot with, I believe, I'm not sure the flowers around it, but picture the shutters in the stone house. There are other pictures of the countryside from your trips, but these are all Peg's personal photos from her trip to France, which included time in Paris, but also almost a full month at this villa in Provence. So tell us more about the area. What is Provence like for the person listening who hasn't been there before?
It is very intimate. I think that you don't feel as much like a number there. There's more opportunities to meet the people and to have authentic experiences. Paris is unbelievable. There's so much to see and there's so much to do. But the south of France, Provence, gives you a chance to kick back and drink some wine, sit in a cafe and have a glass of wine or have a coffee. The opportunity to go through the little markets. Every town has a market once a week. So you have the chance to explore and see all the different the different individualities of each little town.
And the town that the villa was in is Saint Remy.
Saint-Rémy de Provence.
Okay.
It is about an hour from Marseille, maybe a little bit better, maybe an hour and a half from Marseille. It is a half an hour from Avignon, which really was quite convenient. I decided that I was not driving to Marseille to pick up my 5 different groups of people that were coming to visit me. And I said that the only way that they could come was to come via train and to go to Avignon. And so that's what they did.
And it's very convenient. How far was Avignon again? The Avignon train
About
station?
a half an hour.
Well, that's no problem.
No, and the roads were quite good. Getting to the train station, it was easy in, easy out. Of course, you had to pay a little, pay a toll to park your car within the parking area, but it was cinchy. It was very clear and very well marked, so you couldn't get lost.
And there are actually pictures showing now of the village. I believe most of the food pictures showing of the market. And then
Food pictures, yes.
Yeah. Was the parade in that town too that we're showing?
Oh yes, this town actually has many parades throughout the year. There's, from what I understand, there's at least 1 to 2 every month. While we were there were 2. The first one was 2 days after we arrived, and it was the transhumance race. What they did is they took the sheep from the lower pastures to the upper pastures for the summer. And so they paraded the sheep around the village 2 times. And everyone waited in the street while the sheep and the sheep herders went through the streets. And they even had trucks that vacuumed up the excrement of the sheep. So it was very well done. And,
very efficient operation, I see.
Very efficient operation. And the second parade was at the end of our stay, and that was where the people, they got dressed up as in the 1800s, and they paraded around the town 2 times. This is the current picture is showing one of the pictures from that, and this picture as well. Now you can purchase little characters to put under a Christmas tree with the nativity scene, and the French people call them santons. And they have sheep herders in the picture. They have in the scene. They have butchers. It's all a part, and so this is the parade of those people.
I will say, you call it, your pictures show the area as very authentic. And that's why I was so happy you chose Provence, because I've heard that again and again and again from travelers and clients who have been to Provence. And I'm glad that area, because we mostly focused on the house and being near Avignon, but really we had to find the right fit. I'm just so glad that it was also in a very nice town too, because some villas could be in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you could be a half hour from Avignon, but you have nothing around you. Right.
Well, the home was, as I said before, it was exquisite. It had even had a laundry room with an additional refrigerator. It had the bedrooms were very nicely appointed, and the internet was phenomenal. So there was no problem with that. And it also had a landline that you could call the States for no charge. That was a nice feature as well. And it had weekly maid service, which I really didn't know that was going to happen. And the people that maintained the house were very kind.
Yeah, I noticed when we looked at Bagot, it was one of the newer villas that was available. People think villas in Italy and villas in France, they think probably these old 18th century buildings. That's not the case. Villa is just a category of type of accommodation. Some villas are brand new. I believe Bagot was fairly new, or at least was renovated to be new.
I believe it was. It was part of a larger property, and then it was divided up and renovated. I think it had been renovated about 10 years prior to my staying there.
Very nice. So when you move in for a month, obviously you're going to need supplies. Was it convenient to stock up the house?
Oh, absolutely. There were, of course, there were two grocery stores, I would say about 4 miles from the villa. One of them, a traditional French grocery store, and the other was also Aldi. And just as we have Aldi in Homestead. So that was something that was familiar. And then, of course, the markets. Every Wednesday in Saint-Rémy, there was the open market, and you could purchase absolutely anything you wanted, from toys to clothing to fish to meat. It just was phenomenal.
Obviously, we're talking about Avignon 30 minutes away. Having a car was required.
Yes, absolutely. I was a little bit scared to drive because I just was, I was a little scared. And I did have some fun with the GPS. We were going to Ile de la Sourque, which is a town that has a very awesome antique market on Sunday. And it took us through the vineyards. So that was a little scary because I had to pull over on the side to wait for another car to pass by. And I almost was in the ditch.
Yes, there are narrow roads in Europe and numerous areas. But the point I'm making...
it was a good memory because I'm here today to tell the story.
And it sounds like the car was well traveled between runs to Avignon for family and runs to the town. How far were you from the town?
About 1.5 miles.
Oh, so very, very convenient.
It was very convenient.
And see, Peg was smart. She understood this vacation was an investment, and she understood that renting a car was going to be part of the budget. It just is required. And there's very few places you're going to have a villa and then just be self-contained. Some villas comes with car and driver, but obviously the price points are much different than a regular villa. So Peg did the right thing. She rented a car from Avignon, which was easily accessed from Paris, correct? You just got off the plane in Paris. I know the way home was a lot quicker, but you stayed a few nights in Paris, then trained to Avignon, picked up your car, and off you were.
Yeah, off we were. The car rental place was right inside the train station. It wasn't difficult at all. Avignon does actually have 2 train stations, but we selected the correct one that had the car service. Only one of them has the car rental place.
Yes, and we made sure that we found the right one. Because there were 2 stations, because you did the TGV station, the fast train.
Yes, the TGV station. If anyone has the opportunity to travel the TGV, It is an absolutely marvelous experience. We traveled. We were blessed to be able to travel in the first class. It was a cultural awakening because on the trains in France, the people do not talk. So you had to be very quiet. And we were shushed a couple of times, but because we were playing cards and got a little
Really? Interesting. I did not know that. Very nice.
Yeah. So that was an eye opener. As a young person, I traveled on the trains, but we traveled in more or less in compartments in those days. And now it's more of an open area with a table with using for 4 people in the middle, or you could have just 2 seats without a table. But people are very, 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 very quiet when they're on the train. So
very, very, very good to know. You decided to make this a family experience. It was, your birthday. So who came to visit?
I first went to Paris with my best friend Ellen, her daughter Emily, and her daughter Vanessa. And we we first flew to Atlanta, picked up Emily and Vanessa, and then we flew on to Paris and spent 3 days there. After Emily and Ellen and Vanessa were there, my sister-in-law, Shula, came from Israel and spent some time with me. And after she departed, my son Jonathan and his fiancee Joe came for almost a week. And then they were joined by my daughter Melissa, her husband Pedro, and grandchildren Owen and Alexander. And as the house only had 3 bedrooms, Joe and Jonathan were required to leave and go to a hotel for 2 nights because I wanted to follow the rules.
Wow, you actually maxed out the house.
I did.
Well, it was my pleasure helping you celebrate a very special birthday the right way. And I actually did assist you with a number of travel arrangements for your family, and they were all very wonderful to work with. And there was a lot of complexities. There was a lot of back and forth. People come from different places. And for all those listeners out there that think booking travel is easy, come talk to Peg and I one-on-one about what we went through to book everybody. And we built a village for a month with all the rotation of guests. But I just loved how you did it your way, just like the Frank Sinatra song, because you've worked hard and to be an excellent businesswoman and successful, and you deserved a good birthday. And I just really enjoyed helping you celebrate it the way you wanted it to.
And it couldn't have been better. Joe, my son's fiance, and I were just discussing it last evening that, boy, we wish we could be back in Bigot and swimming in the pool. And despite the fact that I have my own pool, but we wanted to be in Bigot's pool.
Now, you spent time in Paris. You obviously lived in the south of France for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Where else did you explore in the area? Did you get to see other sites? Did you see other areas in the region?
Yes, I actually am a beach lover. So we had, with my family, we decided to go to 2 different locations. The first place that I traveled to was Cassis. And I believe, David, you have a picture of boats.
The fishing village, yes. So the fishing village is Cassis, which I actually labeled the photo for our broadcaster because I gleaned it from your Facebook comments because you ran a contest. You're like, where is this? And someone figured it out. I was like, oh, it's Cassis. Very nice. Yeah.
So it was a lovely experience there. When Jonathan and Joe and I took a boat around the cliffs in the area, it was absolutely stunning. And then we also spent time on the beach. I did that with Emily and Ellen and Vanessa, as well as Jonathan. But the other place that I went to was Santa Marie de la Mer. And it is actually a gypsy town in the south of France. And we went to the beach there. The beach was stunning, very sandy. It had beach bars all along the edge, and you really felt like you could go in the water, and it was very safe for children. It's very popular for horseback riding. That's in the Camargue area of France. So those are the places that we visited for the beach. We also went to some other little towns to explore. One was Ile de la Sauge, which is very famous for the antique market. And we looked for little interesting things there. I bought an old tablecloth, embroidered tablecloth in that area. So each of these little towns has much to explore.
Excellent. Going to our, because we're running out of time today, so we do have a few questions in our YouTube chat on the A1A Radio Network. Make sure you subscribe to the channel notifications. That way you'll be notified when my show goes live every Monday. So Tony, my friend, he's still on because he had been to France, and food's very important to me especially. And Tony, I said, what was your favorite meal while you were there?
Oh, gee, that's a hard thing to say. I believe it was when I was in Cassis, I had mussels, and mussels is one of my favorite dishes. So I would have to say mussels in Cassis.
Excellent answer. So Peg, we're going to start wrapping up, just a few minutes left. So let's finish talking about your resorts. I'll give my contact information at the end for people interested in planning a bucket list trip or planning a trip to France. Travel is coming back, and travel to 2021 is looking good because it is a buyer's market right now. Tell us again about your resorts. Where are they? How do they get a hold of you if they want to book a stay at your wonderful resorts in Key Largo?
Sure. I'm located at mile marker 97.7 on the Bayside in Key Largo. We have 23 rooms of varying styles and accommodations. So contact us at bayharborkeylargo.com, or you can call us at 305-852-5695.
Excellent. Peg, you've been a fantastic guest. You're a wonderful friend and an unbelievable customer. It was absolutely, my gratitude goes to you for planning your wonderful birthday trip last summer, and hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Oh, I'm looking forward, David.
Have a fantastic day, Peg. Appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you very much, David, for the opportunity. Have a great afternoon, people.
You too. So thank you all for being here today. We're about to wrap up. I want to give you my contact information, 305-453-9208. I am the owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, as Peg can attest, a full-service travel agency. And also the email is www.bucketwishtrip.com. And why is it Bucket Wish?